Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Hello, everybody. It's Adele here with you. We're doing another episode of Roll Credits Interviews, and I've got a great guest with me today. It's Lizzie Logan, a writer from New York. Hey, Lizzie.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me. Thanks for waking up so early for me.
No problem. Happy to do it.
So, we're talking today about your first feature film that you wrote and directed, People People. It's just recently had its online release. It's a millennial romantic comedy film about an agoraphobic YouTube star who falls for her delivery guy.
That is that is the synopsis. That's the lot line.
Excellent, excellent. All right, I'm glad I said agoraphobia, agoraphobic, right? Because sometimes, yeah, that's quite a mouthful.
That's the word.
So, this is your first feature film that you wrote and directed. I'd love you to just tell me, like, how did you come up with the concept for this film?
I was in college and I went to NYU for like dramatic writing. So I was always just sort of playing around with different script ideas. Um, and I had this idea of like how much story could you fit in one location? What if there was a character who like left her apartment and like there wasn't a ton of plot, I guess, like not a lot of outside forces driving it. I just really wanted to like distill um, the romantic comedy down to like just the relationship, just one location, and see how far I could take that. And as I kept playing with it, um, I just kept having more and more ideas of like, okay, so if she doesn't leave her apartment, then what does she do all day? And then how does she make money? And like what? And then who would she meet? And then why doesn't she leave? And one question sort of led to another, and I ended up with with this script that was very filmable just by like reason of yeah, it was very few people and very few locations, and I was like, wow, okay, this would not cost that much money to make and like actually have looked pretty good.
Yeah, and it's sort of because it's all set in, very minimal locations and, like you said, minimal cast as well. It's something that almost feels like it could transpose quite easily to a theatre piece because it's like all about the characters and just really like intimate.
Yeah, I think that I mean I wouldn't consider myself like a playwright at all, but I definitely have taken playwriting classes and, I did a lot of like student theater in my younger days and like writing. I'm on like a sketch team right now. So that's, definitely you try to do everything in one location, sort of the, we talked about Aristotle's three unities of like unities of character and time and place. I don't know if character is one of them. But just of having things take place in real time in one location, it makes things a lot easier on sort of a practical level. And also you have to really like force that conflict, if that makes sense. Like it's sort
Yeah.
of easy to like heighten the stakes when, someone's at gunpoint or whatever and you have something external like driving the plot. But if you really have to focus on characters when it's like just the two of them in a room where everyone's safe and like, okay, then what is forcing them to talk about the things that they don't want to talk about? Yeah, that's something that I think theater is really good at, and I borrowed for this.
Yeah, very cool. So did you come up with the characters first or more the concept and the sort of the parameters first?
Um, I guess the parameters, but also the main character of Kat really influenced all of that just because it's like it's her issues that are driving all of it, and like she is her surroundings, if that makes sense. Like she and the apartment are kind of like one entity almost because she's like stuck there, but also she's molding it to be what she needs. So yeah, I would say I probably developed Kat along with the plot, and then I just stuck in other characters to like feed the beats of the story. I was just like, all right, we need a friend, and then we need an annoying person, and then we need an ex, and then I was just like, all right, and then just stuck other people in.
So the cast, so that the main character, Kat, played by Natalie Walker, and she's an actress and an internet star herself. How did she become attached to the project?
She auditioned. We had gone to the same summer camp. We didn't know each other there, but it was like we were Facebook friends just because I think we were like in the same group or something. And so, and I had like, and I knew that she was like an actress and like just like a funny person and a writer and made great videos. So I like invited her to the audition event on Facebook, and then our mutual friend, Liz Watson, also invited her to the audition event. Who Liz is also a producer on the movie, and they had known each other also through camp, but like at different times. And then I went to college with Liz. It's all very like small world-y. So yeah, she just came in and auditioned, and we were like, well, that's perfect. That works. And she was super funny and super expressive, and like, I mean, obviously all actors and all characters you want to be watchable to a certain extent, but for someone who the audience could stick with for, the entire running time, she's in every single scene. She's talking to the camera for a lot of it. Like, if you're not on board with her, you're just not going to like the movie. And Natalie is so fun and so funny and so vulnerable that I was like, all right, we can stick with her. And then, yeah, she did a great job. I'm very proud of her.
Oh, good. No, so good. And so this is going into more like the practicalities of the filmmaking process. So, it's a micro budget indie feature. And how did your funding come together? What was the process of doing something so like micro budget?
Okay. Well, the funding has a simple and a little bit bummer of an answer, which is that my grandmother died and left me a chunk of money. And so I financed it myself. I was very lucky to be in that position, that I didn't need to crowdfund or apply for grants. I was able to just sort of buy people plane tickets and, food and sort of the practical day-to-day things. Our crew worked for very little, which also, again, is just very lucky that they were in a position to be able to do that. And the apartment we used for the majority of principal photography is my mom's apartment. So those are our three big, like, write-offs, not write-offs, like freebies, I guess, is like we didn't have to pay for a location, and I had a chunk of money, and everyone's fees were pretty minimal. And Josh, our DP, he and I call them like his crew. They're all individual people. I shouldn't talk about them like they belong to him, but he and Tyler and Isaac, they sort of came as a set. They're roommates and they work together a lot, and they have their own equipment.
Amazing.
So I was just like, hey, you want to do this? And how much money would I need to give you? And he was like, a very low amount. So it was a lot of luck that made it possible. And I'll also say that one of the reasons that I didn't want to ask other people for money, including like producers or grants or whatever, is just because I wanted the freedom to have it be really bad if it turned out really bad. I had never made a feature before. I had only directed a couple of shorts, and I didn't want it to. I think there's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility when you take other people's money to deliver on that and to say, I'm going to make something that's really worth your investment. And I didn't feel confident that whatever they were expecting, I would be able to deliver. I wanted it to be like, if this doesn't work out, I haven't wasted anyone's money but my own. I haven't, misused funds, or not even in such a serious way, but just like, I have friends who are always like asking me to donate to their projects, and I'm happy to, but then there is an expectation of like, hey, I gave you money for this thing. Where is it? Like,
Sure.
I thought you were going to make this web series. It's been 2 years or whatever. And I really wanted it to be like, I have all the time in the world because this is just my thing and no one else has any right to expect anything from it because I just did it by myself with my friends in my mom's apartment.
I guess that's like the true definition of a passion project, right?
Yeah, a passion project and truly being like independent. Like there's no one, and if I want to make some weird radical change in the edit room, I don't need anyone's permission because nobody, not that nobody helped me, a lot of people helped me, but nobody is putting like their reputation on the line for me or their cash on the line for me and needing me to, I can't believe you didn't get into this festival. We worked so hard on it. It's like, nope, this is just on me if this sucks. And it doesn't suck, actually. I'm very happy with how it turned out, but if it did suck, that would be okay too.
So that's good. It means you didn't have you didn't have to answer to anybody. So the result truly is your pure vision. Because when you have other people's money and other investors, you also have other people's influence, and so this really is exactly what you wanted.
Yeah. So Josh, our DP, and Marissa, our editor, were super helpful, super great collaborators. They're both really, really talented, and I deferred to them a lot. So I would see their vision is like really comes through in the final cut. And it was great to be able to say to them, like, yeah, it's just the two of us who are going to decide what shot to use and what take to use. And we just had a lot of freedom to play around with it. And I had the freedom to defer to them if I wanted to and to go my own way if I wanted to. And it was a sort of liberating, cool way to make a project.
Yeah, absolutely. And to make a first project as well, I think that's really nice. Did you have what kind of takeaways did you have from the process?
Post-production is long.
Yeah.
Getting longer. I did have this, we shot this summer 2016, and for a long time people were like, whatever happened with that movie you were making? And I was like, it's still in post. Like, it's still, and that's not a complaint, it's just something I guess I had thought I'd made a few 10, 15-minute projects, and I thought, okay, well, it'll be 4 times as long as that, 5 times as long as that took. No, it's like exponentially longer.
Years. Yeah, years.
Yeah, so but again, that was a great thing is I didn't have a deadline to meet. I was like, we'll submit this when we're ready to submit it. I don't have to deliver this to anybody on anybody else's schedule. So that was a big takeaway. And having people you trust, I knew that I would need to rely on my crew and my collaborators. But I guess I was just really, really happy that I didn't, that I had predicted that, I guess. I figured okay, well, we'll get on set and I'm pretty sure I know what I want it to look like. So I'll just talk to Josh about that and we'll make a storyboard, but I'm pretty sure I know. And then once we got down to it, I was like, oh yeah, no, I hadn't thought about this transition at all. I am so glad you're here. The never overestimate your own abilities, I guess, is another big takeaway. You can't have a single weak link in the crew because you think you can pick up the slack yourself and you cannot. Or I can.
No. Yes, you need to surround yourself with equally good and talented people in order to pull off something like this.
Yeah.
So what's a bit more of your background and your entry into the comedy world and the writing world in general?
Oh boy. I was born in the 90s.
Yeah, a big open-ended question.
So I went to NYU for dramatic writing, and my goal has always been to be a TV writer, but I've always been really interested in lots of different kinds of writing. So, writing scripts, writing shorts, writing sketches, writing sort of like humor pieces for online. I write for Red Actress and McSweeney's and places like that. And just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, just talking about
and I did improv in college, which is a lot of fun and a really good way to learn to collaborate, because if you don't have a good improv team, you can't do good improv. Even if you're the best person in the world, it's just not going to work. And it was actually through a girl on my improv team that I sort of got hooked up with Josh, is that they used to date. So that's how I know him.
You were saying before, small world, those connections, those
world.
Networks. Yeah.
Very small world. And right. So I had graduated college. I had an internship that was ending and I didn't have anything else lined up. And I sort of thought like, well, I sort of want to do more like straight comedy, like something a little, I didn't see myself necessarily being like an indie type of person exactly. Like I really just wanted to focus on comedy, but I had this script and I thought it was pretty good and I thought it was very filmable. And like I said, I unfortunately came into a chunk of money and it sort of like the stars sort of aligned that it was going to be possible to make a feature. And I just sort of thought like, why not? Like, why? Let's see if this works.
When you're making your own films as an independent filmmaker, I think you're wearing so many hats, so you are wearing the writing, directing, and the producing hat. And while that's a really crazy and amazing and experience that you can learn so much from, I think you can also benefit a lot as well from just sometimes focusing on one direction.
Yeah, and especially for this, I mean, I was also like, it was kind of nuts on set. Like, I made lunch for everyone. Like, I was the caterer.
Yeah, you got to do it all in the indie world. Yes.
I would like call action and then call cut so that I could like run around back and like fix someone's makeup and like I made the fake blood that's on David's head. Like it was super rewarding to be that involved in a project, but it was also like, yeah, I did. Someone was like, "Can we change this line?" I was like, I can't. Like,
I got 5 other things to do. Yeah,
because we have to feed the cast. Like, so it would be great to be able to focus on just one aspect, but it was also great to focus on all the aspects.
Well, I think that's also the real benefit of coming through and starting at that grassroots, all hands on deck, micro budget indie way.
Yeah.
So how to do all of the things, and then moving forward, you'll always have that.
Yes, it was like I was my own PA, I was my own art director, all of it.
Fake blood wrangler.
Yes,
all the things.
I was trying to think. Someone asked me recently. My friend watched a movie and she was like, "What did you use for the fake blood?" And I said, like, I think it was corn syrup and red food dye. But I was just like, I just had this memory of like, whatever it was, I just remember stirring it with a Q-tip.
I think that is cornstarch and red food dye. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the recipe, something like that.
I think that's what it is. And it was just like, yes, directing, so glamorous. Here I am, like, stirring fake blood.
These are the things. Set. Yeah, these are the things that we have to do. Excellent, great, that's so exciting. Well, I have a final question that I love to ask everybody because I always find it so interesting. I'm going to ask you if you could have dinner with any fictional movie character, who would you like to have dinner with? Who'd you like to hang out with?
I mean, I'm sort of thinking like,
go with your gut. First answer. Like
Han Solo, and then like we can make out. Like, is this a date? Like, if it's dinner, maybe it could be a date.
It could start as dinner and lead to wherever we want it to lead.
Like, that would be really nice.
Wait, original Han Solo, Harrison Ford Han Solo, or the new Han Solo?
He's still Harrison Ford. He's just older.
Oh,
yeah. So young.
But then they remade a Solo, a Star Wars story. and they
Oh, right.
recast.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
There's another one.
Would I have? Yeah, I mean, oh God, who is it? It's Alden Ehrenreich, right?
Yep, that's the one. That's the one.
I mean, Harrison Ford. I liked Solo. Okay, we don't need to. We can talk about Star Wars for a while. Yeah, I think like original trilogy Han Solo.
Yeah, great.
Chewbacca could come.
Excellent.
It would be a good dinner. He seems like a fun.
Yes.
I just think it'd be a good time. We'd get drunk. It would be good.
Yep. Some rebels would storm in. You could shoot up some people. It'd be fun.
Yes. Yes. That would be great.
Excellent. Cool. Well, I think that is it. I think they're all my questions. So I will leave all the links. Where can everybody find? I'll leave the link to the trailer for People, so everyone
Great.
should go check it out. And the link for people to go online and buy and download the film as well.
Vimeo.com/on-demand/people. I think it's $2 to rent. It's a solid 80 minutes. So if you got a long lunch break and a couple bucks to spare, rent the movie. And there's, more stuff. You can watch a trailer there. We're on social media at HeyCatPeople.
Excellent. Cool. I will leave all the links. Everyone should go and check it out. Thanks so much for talking with me today. And everyone go watch People. And I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in to another episode of Roll Credits Interviews. It's been a blast having you. As always, you can stay updated over on the YouTube channel by subscribing or head over to rollcredits.net and I will see you over there. Okay, bye.